My name is Austin Haynes. I'm interviewing my grandfather, Robert Stewart, for my project, and this is his life changing event.
Our biggest life changing event was when I was drafted into the U.S. Army in 1967. I was a 20-year-old, and the biggest thing that happened while I was drafted, I was able to marry my childhood sweetheart, Judy, and we traveled around to different posts. And then, of course, she got pregnant. Not sure how that happened, but we were able to stay in the States until our daughter, Lisa, Austin's mother, Lisa, was born. And I left for Vietnam when she was 13 days old. When I went into the service, because I was a young 20-year-old at that time. I should have been a grown man, but I wasn't. And I was doing all kinds of things I shouldn't be doing. When they finally drafted me in the service, that changed my life.
Some significant experiences while you're in the Army that did have an impact on your life.
I went into the Army, and I was very fortunate to go to the Ranger School in Fort Benning, Georgia, and I graduated in the first of my class, and I graduated as a Staff Sergeant E6 because they showed that I had some leadership potential. And after that, your grandmother and I went to Fort McClellan, Alabama, and my job there was to train a platoon of people that was going to go to Vietnam with me. And that was the deal that you had when you went to the Ranger School, you had to volunteer for Vietnam, which is no big deal because that's where we're all going anyway back then. So I trained the people that went to Vietnam with me. And some of them went with us and some got sent other places. But
Okay.
and getting to Vietnam was a real opening situation. We flew into Cam Ranh Bay, and we were there about a week and a half to get acclimated to the hot weather jungle. And we were right on Cam Ranh Bay, which is right on the South China Sea. Life is good. We got a beach out here. Life is really good. And a week later, they issued us our rifles and our M16s and bandanas of clips, live ammunition in them. And that's when I thought, this is real. 2 days later, put us on a helicopter and took us out in the middle of nowhere into forward fire base. And they took me to introduce me to a buck sergeant, Mike Ackery. It's one of the few people I remember his name, who was in charge of the platoon. He said, "You're now the new platoon leader because you're a staff sergeant." And he reached up and he ripped off my stripes. He said, "Now your name is Old Man." Okay. He said, "Some people are probably going to call you Chief. You're now in charge of this whole platoon." So I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Teach me. So, and he did. And 6 months later, he de-roasted back to the States, and haven't heard from him since. He was from Minnesota.
Tell a little bit about the conditions in Vietnam,
It was hot. It was a jungle. You're out in the middle of nowhere, and we worked in the high Corps, which is up to the DMZ and in Kayshawn, Death Valley they called it, and in places up there, and we fought the NVA, the North Vietnamese Regular Army, not the Viet Cong, and yeah, it was a rude awakening, that life is short. It may happen in the next 10 minutes or it may not ever happen, but it will eventually happen. And that's when you really grow up quick. And now I have this whole platoon of 30 people that's looking to me for leadership. That's what I'm talking about, growing up real quick. And I was only 20 years old. Most of those were 18, 19 years old. They were calling me old dad. I mean, I went to school with you guys, I mean, almost, I said, no. But, you grow up quick, you have to learn leadership. It wasn't because you wanted the job, you were just, now you're the leader. And then, of course, we did have some other things that we don't really want to talk about. But I enjoyed my time in the service. I really enjoyed it. And if I hadn't been married at the time with a baby, I probably would have stayed in the military if the war wasn't going on. I would not knowingly go into the military in the war.
It's definitely safe to say you were happy when you were released for
Oh, absolutely.
the war.
Absolutely. That was the happiest day of my life, almost.
Understandable. But you'd say that the military definitely, for the better, affected your life?
Oh,
The
absolutely.
short time you were in the military, even?
Yes, it did. Yes, I was only there 2 years, and it straightened me out because I was 20 years old and not necessarily heading in the right direction, and it turned me back around and taught me how to be a leader and to take care of other people and respect other people.
Do you think your life would be completely different today if it wasn't for being drafted into the military?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. I mean, I wouldn't have no idea where I would be today without that shock, But I was able to come back and moved up. I was in the architectural profession, and I wound up a few years later here in Jacksonville owning my own company. And it was a very successful company. I was able to retire at a little bit of early age. So it was, I never would have had that leadership ability to have my own company had I not been in the military.
So at the time, what seemed to be the worst case scenario was a blessing in disguise, almost, huh?
Oh, yes.
Getting drafted.
Yes, it was. And it really, really was, yes. When you realize that every minute you could be dead, that's a life-changing experience,
All right.
But we don't need to get into nasty stuff about it over there.
All right.
But,
Okay.
but I got some really good training as I moved up in the military before I went to Vietnam to learn how to take care of people, lead people. And that helped me in my business, When I started my business, I really made it easier to own a business. Otherwise, I'd just been nothing, Not much now, but that would have been.
Okay. Well, I think.
Anything else?
If there's anything else that you want to say about your life-changing event that you feel you may have left out, or anything else that you'd like to say in general?
No, not really. I just think that particular event just changed my entire life and taught me how to grow up and how to lead other people. And that just always throughout my career as an architect, it just showed me how to do all that. It taught me how to do all that.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for sitting down and talking to me about your life changing experience and sharing with us all your story.
Thank you.